Hi, sweet friends. It's Amy again, and welcome back. Today, we're taking a look back at last year's Christmas to gather a little inspiration together. I love doing this each year, looking back at some of my favorite decorating spaces. It's always fun to see what I really loved, what I might like to recreate, and the areas where I'd like to try something a little different or more creative this year. I hope as we look back together that you'll find it helpful and that it gives you a few decorating ideas for your own home this Christmas. So cozy up with a warm blanket, grab your favorite drink, and let's take a look back at last year's Christmas. I'm so excited. This is the first time that I get to decorate this cabinet for Christmas. We bought this just after the new year, so it's almost a year old. I'm adding several Christmas decor pieces within groups of one or two, combining different textures, heights of objects, all while trying to crisscross colors for a balanced and visually appealing look. Now, you know we've shopped many of my favorite decor stores to see what was new for Christmas, but one store that I didn't share and one that I think is worth checking out is Kohl's. I got these book boxes there and I think they are adorable. They're very unique and great for shelf styling, plus they even have storage. If I haven't mentioned already, I will have the links to many of the decor items that I've used or similar ones for your convenience linked down below. As I finish up with the decor here in the cabinet, I did want to mention these Norfolk stems. They came in a huge bag from Amazon, and they are great for popping in a vase or even scattering them beneath decor pieces. I have four here in this antique looking vessel that came from Hobby Lobby, so a little bit of them really goes a long way. For now, I'm not going to be adding any decor on top of the cabinet. I don't want it to get too cluttered looking with all the visual impact of the Christmas tree plus the garland on the mantle. So in this case, I think sometimes less is more for better attention to the focal point, which is typically the tree. This year for Christmas in this room, I really want a vintage, classic, traditional feel. So instead of a bright red, I was drawn to this gorgeous rust red like seen here in this pillow cover, which to me has a very cozy vintage feel. And it doesn't scream Christmas, but you get the feeling of it. You'll see I like to mix and match different colors, patterns, and textures through a multitude of different pillow covers to achieve a more collected look. I also like to follow the decorating rule of grouping items in odd numbers, preferably in a group of three. So to keep that in mind, for this arrangement, I added that gorgeous fluted detail vase filled with a stem variety of Norfolk pine and pine cones, this scallop candle tray and mulled spice scented candle from last year, and this cute flock deer. I know I have mentioned this in the past, but one of my favorite ways to refresh a sofa seasonally is to simply change out your pillows. First, I found these dark emerald teddy blue clay ones from HomeGoods and paired it with a small plaid pillow that was actually from the fall collection at Hobby Lobby. So definitely try to think outside of the box for Christmas decor. These pillows were actually on sale because they were clearanced out, but still they work perfectly for the Christmas season. On the other side, I'm adding a cozy throw blanket, this this super soft brown pillow cover and a matching pillow cover to the one on the chair on the opposite side of the room. One way I like to keep things looking fresh and new is rotating my decor from room to room. Last Christmas, you may remember, I used these same trees and deer displayed on shelves over our coffee bar. So for this year, placing them in our living room on the end table instantly brings a new fresh look. Now to decorate the coffee table. Just a heads up, I do change this up a little bit later in today's video and you will see why. But first I'm adding this antique looking vessel and I'm going to fill it with a couple of matching Norfolk branches, the same ones that I have over next to our armchair. Then I'm bringing in yet another coffee table book, but this one is Christmas inspired with lots of beautiful images to page through. Then I'm adding this small wooden piece that I'm filling with some chocolates. And down in that corner, you see my cute little problem. Nyla was really eyeballing and sniffing these out, and so I definitely don't want her to sneak in here and get some of this chocolate and possibly get sick. So no worries, I moved this to a different location and I kept my eye closely on her. Now to finish up the coffee table decor, I am going to add these candlesticks that are a dupe for some Pottery Barn ones that are a lot lower in cost. And then I'll add some emerald green taper candles that I secure with some of that blue mounting putty. As we burn them this season, they're going to get shorter, and I think that's actually going to look much better. As you see, our dining room is right off of our entryway to the left. I've always loved the look of a decorated chandelier, so this is the year I finally give it a try. First, I'm coming in with this bell string garland from Hobby Lobby, adjusting it so the bells hang evenly down below. Then with a cut piece of that same garland that I used on the staircase, I'll place it just above the bells, do some fluffing, and use some of the stems to secure it in place. This year, I'm still decorating with all the reds and greens for a traditional look, but I'm using only a pop of red sparingly, and instead of a bright red, I chose to use a rust red color for a more vintage feel. So to each arm of the chandelier, I'm adding these gorgeous velvet bows in that color. I've added a floral wire loop that I'll slip over each bulb, allowing the bow to set on the edge. For for this year's Christmas table centerpiece, I wanted some type of runner to ground the space, and I couldn't find the right color. So when I found this fabric at Hobby Lobby, I knew I could make it work for a runner. So to cut down the cost, I only got 2 yards. And to stretch the amount of fabric and make it fit the table, all I'm going to do is snip it in the center and then tear it lengthwise, allowing that to create a nice fringed edge. Then, taking the 2 pieces, I'll drape them in the center of the table, meeting them in the center. I'll also bunch up the fabric to create more movement. A tip to keep your fabric in place is taking what you have on hand, and in my case, these rolls of ribbon do the job, to lay over the fabric at the ends of the table to keep the fabric from straightening out. Now that I'm happy with the way the runner looks, it's next time to come in with this gorgeous garland that I got from Hobby Lobby a few years ago. It is such good quality and so realistic with real twigs. But unfortunately, I don't think they carry this exact one anymore. But of course, Hobby Lobby is still my go-to for garlands. They have lots of beautiful options this year, like the one that I used on our mantle. Now, if you happen to miss any of my Christmas decor shop with me's, in addition to Hobby Lobby, we also checked out TJ Maxx, Target, Walmart, and Kirkland's. So I'll have those linked down below, just in case you're interested. To the vintage style candlestick holders that I got from Kirkland's, I'm adding these battery operated taper candles. They're made of real wax, and I just love the extra benefit of not having to worry about a real flame without sacrificing the cozy ambiance that candles add. These exact ones were from Amazon, and I'll do my best to link items that I'm decorating with today, as well as similar ones if I can find them, just in case you're interested in recreating the same look for your Christmas decor. Since the chandelier and of course the Christmas tree will be the main focal point in the room, to not overwhelm the space, I'm keeping the centerpiece fairly simple. For each individual place setting, I'm adding these round woven placemats. I like the round shape and the scalloped edges, that they break up the long centerpiece and relates back to the movement in the runner. Then for the charger, I'm adding these beautiful green ruffled edge ones. Now it's time for the dinnerware. I'm using my Christmas set that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I just love evergreens, and they can even be used after Christmas for the winter season, but I think they complement the charger and everything else that will be going on in our dining room. Also, for today's purposes, I won't be adding napkins, flatware, or glasses, but look for that in a video later in the season where I share Christmas breakfast or brunch ideas. Let me know down in the comments if that would be something you'd be interested in seeing. With extra little pieces of greenery that has fallen off larger stems, I'm sneaking them around the salad plates, filling in empty spots while adding texture and interest. I also like finding a new spot to display these red and white striped bowls from the Target Dollar Spot each year. They remind me of candy canes. Then I'll further fill in the empty spots with these bottle brush trees to complete the first shelf. I'll pretty much be doing the same thing with the shelf below, except I'm adding 3 matching bowls and using stems with red berries. To balance the dark color of the deer bust on the top, I'm adding the similar colored dark tray down below into the opposite side. Then for some added softness, I'm adding a crocheted doily and a cream bowl that was from Walmart. Inside it, I thought it would be fun to fill it with yet again some additional pine stems and with these wooden finials that resemble ornaments. Next up is the heart of the home, our kitchen. You're going to see some slight changes with the addition of more pops of red since we last decorated the space together. My decor style for Christmas has always been traditional. I love greens, golds, and soft pops of red here and there. It's not so much a bright cherry red, but more along the lines of a vintage rust red. This Christmas, I wanted to incorporate more neutral gingerbread pieces and baking items into the kitchen while still creating a cozy vintage feel. going to be using two types of garland. The first one is a beautiful cedar garland from Hobby Lobby, and then the other I'll be using on top is a garland that I got from Amazon. I like to use the loop on the end to secure to the hook, and then I will fashion a loop where I need it from either a twist tie or a floral wire. For the top garland, I'm doubling it over and have already wired it together in a few places to fill in the swoop, yet to still lay flat on the surface of the mantle. Again, I'm using the same hooks to secure it down. Then I like to combine the two garlands by pulling pieces from one garland into the other, fluffing as I go, working throughout to fill any gaps. Next it's time to add some lights. I went with these cluster lights that I found from Amazon. This set is a 400 LED warm white 20-foot string of lights. I like that you can connect 3 sets if you need to, and it has 8 modes and easy to install. So you can choose from different lighting modes. So there's steady on, slow fade, in waves, slow glow, chasing or flash, and lots of different combinations. And because it's on a dark green wire, it really blends into your greenery. In addition to the cluster lights, on top I'm adding these globe fairy lights for some added interest. This year at Walmart, I found the shatterproof mercury ball garland and I knew I wanted to use it on the mantle. I'm using 2 different strands to create a swoop at the bottom of the garland. Then I'm going to embellish the garland by placing some flocked ornaments from Hobby Lobby as well as some picks for some added interest and detail. The only thing left to do here on the mantle is to add the stockings, which I embellished by adding a simple bow and a thicker rust red velvet ribbon. Now to get that stair-step look that I'm going after, I just added some additional floral wire to the hook. After fluffing the tree branch by branch, you'll see I'm going to add some additional lights to the pre-lit tree. So for a more magical glow, as well as to coordinate the two together, I'm also adding those same cluster lights, just a larger set of them. I like to place my lights on the tree in a zigzag pattern, going up the tree and then back down, instead of going round and round getting dizzy. Also, make sure that you put some of the lights inside of the tree near the trunk while you bring some of the lights forward. This is going to give you a very dimensional, even look to your tree. Many of the ornaments I'm adding this year will bring a sense of nostalgia. The crosses have been with Scott and I since our first Christmas, and these yearly ornaments have been fun to collect over the years. Along with all of the old ornaments, I'm also adding these new ones. They're the flocked baubles in beautiful shades of cream, tan, and brown. All right, friends, well, let's go ahead and jump straight into all the decorating here in our home office. I hope it gives you some new ideas or just some enjoyment and relaxation during this holiday season. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I hope you enjoy. To style my office desk, I like to keep things pretty minimal, but I love adding a few decor pieces to each corner for a cozy touch. To fill in that little empty space next to the lamp, I'm adding a book and topping it off with a black planter that I'll place a small flock tree inside. Next, I'm bringing in these really special little golden books from my childhood. Did any of you have these? I can still remember my mama reading these Christmas stories to me each night before bed. They bring back such sweet memories. I hope to one day pass them down to my grandbabies, but until then, having them here adds such a special sense of nostalgia to the space. Over in our seating area above the wall clock, I'm adding a simple arrangement with pine and berry stems to create a swag. It's just a little embellishment, perfect for Christmas to set off the space. Starting out over at the coffee bar, I'm going to first remove the table lamp to make room for our hot cocoa station. We like to have lots of different topping options available to experiment with all the delicious flavors of the season. I like to fill different shapes and sizes of glass containers with all of our favorites. My favorite combo, of course, is a heaping mound of whipped cream, red hot candies, mini marshmallows, and lots of Christmas sprinkles. So I'd love to hear what's your favorite hot cocoa combo. Let me know down below. To display all the different toppings, I'm bringing in this two-tiered stand that was from Kirkland's. Now, for the kitchen this Christmas, I'm combining two themes, a neutral gingerbread and evergreen forest decor. You'll definitely have to stick around to see how it all turns out in the end. For the mugs, I'm using the same ones from last year that I found from Joann's. I love the raised outside detail of the neutral tree with the printed word Merry on the inside rim. You might have noticed we no longer have our Keurig coffee maker. It is the second one within only 2 years that has bit the dust, so we decided to give this Ninja one a try. I also like the added feature on this one with the milk frother. Before we go any further, I did want to share all the things that you should have prepared and ready to go for all your Christmas decorating. First, I always stock up on these Velcro command strips. I love them for hanging artwork. They don't damage your walls and they're great for seasonal decorating. I also, of course, like to have batteries on hand, both AA and AAA. I also like to get this Gorilla Tape. It's double-sided and it is very useful for maybe leveling out a picture. And then also for hanging artwork, I like to use these monkey hooks where you can't hit a stud. This pack here has low profile, heavy duty, and original. I also like to stock up on these command hooks. I like that it has a wire hook that's movable. It holds about 2 pounds. These are great for hanging garlands. I also like to have these plastic command hooks on hand for hanging wreaths and other small decorative Christmas items as well. So I hope that this is helpful and that you are able to get these things before you start decorating. That way you will be set and ready to go. Today we're going to head outside to our front porch to decorate it for Christmas. I hope I give you some new ideas for decorating your outdoor spaces. First things first, I'm grabbing these command cord bundles that I picked up from Amazon to hang the garland around the door. Since we have a brick surround, instead of using the sticky command backing, a little trick I like to use is simply placing some hot glue on the back and then sticking that right to the brick. This should last all season long, and when it comes time to remove them, there is no damage to the underlying brick. You'll see here, still nicely secure, I have these small cord clips that I used during the fall to hang a swag above the door. In order to further keep the Christmas garland in place, I want to add a few more of these small cord clips every 2 to 3 feet down each side of the doorway. These will also secure the lights and any additional embellishments that will be adorning the garland too. So this is the garland that I'll be using. I picked this up from Walmart. It's their holiday time 6-foot garland. I love the realistic look and feel of its branches, plus the grapevine rope along the back makes it look more lush and full. Now that the top section is nice and secure, I'm using these metal command hooks on each side placed just beneath the extra top garland to easily hang the 2 garlands going on each side. In order to get a cleaner looking installation of the lights, I grabbed an extension cord that blended with the color of our brick, ran it up the seam of the mortar, and attached it to the lowest light clip behind the garland. This tip can help create a cleaner look so that your lights aren't trailing down the side to your outlet. Next, I'm going to zigzag the lights along the garland, hiding the cord behind the draping pieces of pine. For this year, which I've never did in the past, I'm going to be adding ribbon to our outside garland. I've used this ribbon in several Christmases past. I've taken 3 different ribbons, securing them together with floral wire at the ends and then along the 2 to 4 foot length sections every foot or so. Using the floral wire at these gathered points, I'll secure it to the garland once again in a zigzag pattern. Now I want to fill in with some items to create additional interest and repeat elements that I've decorated with inside our home. First, I'll add these red berry clusters with alligator clips, some gold shatterproof bulbs that I've wired together using floral wire in groups of 3, and lastly, these beautiful glittery copper berry stems. I'll try to scatter them evenly throughout the garland, stepping back often to see where they're needed. Now it's time to add a wreath, and again, I'm using one from Christmases past. I also had these smaller bells in my stash, so I'm sneaking them in behind it. Lastly, I'll add a simple velvet bow with that same rust red color that I've used inside to coordinate the outdoor and indoor spaces. As for the pillows on both our sofa and rockers, I'm reusing pillows that I already had and have used in various places around our home to decorate for Christmas. If you've been here a while, you know that I like to have an eclectic look of pillows, none that really match, but all that coordinate together. Rotating decor from room to room is one tip I continue to share. The only important thing you need to keep in mind to do this is to have a similar color palette that you can move decor from place to place. I think this keeps older decor pieces from looking boring and drab and is much more budget friendly. Welcome back. Today I thought I would bring you along as we pick up some groceries for some really fun recipes that are simple, and I think they'd be great to take to parties or even to serve during Christmas Day. So we've already picked up our online order from Sam's, and then we've stopped here at Walmart to pick up some ingredients for the two recipes that I'll share with you today. I'll also be including our sugar cookie recipe that I always love to do with the kiddos, and so Caleb was able to come over and then we did our sugar cookies, so you'll get to see how we do that as a family each year. So I hope that you enjoy just seeing these recipes and maybe that you will try them. If you do, definitely give me a comment down below if you enjoyed it. All right, well, let's go ahead and head into Walmart and pick up a few of those ingredients for the recipes. Here is a peek of the 3 yummy, quick and easy appetizers, perfect for any holiday party. The first simple appetizer I'm sharing with you today is a cheesy pull-apart bread that will shape into a Christmas tree. This is visually festive and delicious, combining warm, cheesy bread served alongside your favorite spaghetti sauce. Here's what you will need for this recipe. For the pull-apart bread, we're using 2 cans of refrigerated pizza dough, a block of mozzarella cheese, butter, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, and some optional Parmesan cheese for extra flavor. The first thing you'll want to do, of course, is to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, I'm going to cut the block of mozzarella cheese into 1-inch cubes. If you're shorter on time, you can definitely skip this step and buy pre-packaged cheese that is already cubed. Once your cheese is cubed, you can set that aside and roll out your pizza dough onto some wax paper, cutting it into 12 small squares. Now you'll take a cube of mozzarella cheese and place it in the center of each square. Then gather the corners of the dough up and around the cheese, pinching the edges together to form a little dough ball. Now we're going to arrange all the cheese balls on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper in the shape of a Christmas tree. How fun is this? You could also place the dough in a ring to make a festive wreath as well. Next, I'm going to melt the butter mixed with garlic and Italian seasoning in the microwave. Then we'll brush the tops and sides with this buttery goodness. And if you're feeling a little extra fancy, sprinkle on some Parmesan cheese. Pop this into your oven and bake for 15 to 20 minutes or until it's golden brown and delicious. The next appetizer is a sheet pan chicken quesadilla. It is easy to make and full of great flavor, a perfect party food to feed a crowd. This dish is super easy to make and with only a few simple ingredients. First, you're going to brush a half sheet pan with melted butter. Then you're going to take 6 large burrito-sized flour tortillas, overhanging the edges of the baking sheet. Then place 1 tortilla in the center. For the shredded chicken in this recipe, I'm using a rotisserie chicken that we picked up from Sam's. I love using our mixer to quickly shred chicken and get the job done. Also, this is a recipe that I found on Pinterest, so I'll have it linked down below along with any other recipes in today's video. As far as the chicken goes, you can use any cooked chicken you have on hand. Boneless, skinless, chicken breasts, chicken thighs, or even chicken tenders. To the shredded chicken, I'll add in sour cream and black beans. If you're short on time, you can add a taco seasoning packet, but I like to use homemade taco seasoning made with chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, red pepper flakes, oregano, paprika, ground cumin, salt, and pepper, which makes about 3 tablespoons, which is equivalent to a packet of seasoning that you buy in the store. You'll combine all the ingredients together in a small bowl. You can also make this ahead and store in an airtight container for later. Next, you'll add the shredded cheese, a can of drained Rotel diced tomatoes and green chilies, and then I omitted the lime juice, and then salt and pepper to taste. Now it's time to mix this all together until completely incorporated, and then you're going to transfer this chicken mixture to the tortillas and spread evenly. Carefully begin folding the tortillas that are hanging over the edge of the pan towards the middle. In the empty spot in the center, place the last tortilla so that all the delicious chicken mixture is completely covered. Before it's time to bake, brush the tops of the tortilla with the remaining melted butter. And for some extra crispiness, stack a second sheet pan on top of the folded tortillas, pressing down a bit, and transfer that all to an oven and bake for 20 minutes in a 450-degree preheated oven. After your 20 minutes is up, remove the top baking sheet and bake for another 15 minutes, watching carefully until the tortilla is lightly golden brown. Mine got just a little bit too brown, but it still had great flavor. Once your 15 minutes is up, or until golden brown, remove the sheet pan and allow the quesadilla to slightly cool before cutting it into squares or triangle servings. Since I was taking this to our Christmas Bible study, I decided to transfer the chicken quesadillas to a foil pan for easy transportation and cleanup. The third quick and easy option for our party appetizer is this homemade spinach dip. So let's go ahead and whip this up real quick. In a mixing bowl, you're going to combine the thawed and super drained spinach, and what you're going to do is take either cheesecloth or even a clean tea towel and really wring out all the moisture within the spinach. Then you'll combine the remaining ingredients, the softened cream cheese, sour cream, mayonnaise, shredded Parmesan and mozzarella, a little bit of garlic, and salt and pepper to taste. Mix this together really well in your mixing bowl. Then you'll transfer the dip into an oven-safe dish, and I went ahead and baked it alongside the cheese balls for about 20 minutes or until bubbly and golden. I'll be serving this with tortilla chips, but you could also serve this with an assortment of veggies or pita chips. So here are all three super simple, yummy appetizers, great for Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, or any holiday party you may have coming up. Now, you might be looking for a sweeter option or would just like a new cookie recipe for this Christmas. And these are by far my family's favorite sugar cookies. Each Christmas, I like to set aside a day where we get together as a family and make these. So Elena and I today are making 2 batches of this recipe so that when Caleb comes over this afternoon, we'll have plenty of cookies to cut and decorate and snack on till Christmas. Quickly, friends, if you are still here and watching, I wanted to thank you so much. I hope that you've enjoyed our day in the kitchen, and if you have, I'd appreciate a big thumbs up. I'd love to hear if you're planning to try some of these recipes and what you thought of them. Also, I'd love to hear if you have any special traditional recipes like cookies or appetizers, things like that you like to have for Christmas Day, New Year's, or even that is your go-to for taking to parties. Let me know down in the comments below. If you're rushed on time like many of us are during the season, one quick way to get your cookie dough chilled a little quicker is to place it already rolled out in between 2 pieces of wax paper or parchment paper placed in the refrigerator, and that will get it done much quicker. While our sugar cookie dough is chilling, I wanted to share 2 other super simple yummy cookies. The first are these peanut butter Ritz crackers dipped in almond bark. I'm first laying out a row of Ritz crackers that I'll come back in and spread peanut butter on top. Once we have the peanut butter Ritz cracker sandwich, I'll place that in some melted almond bark that my hubby Scott is heating up in the microwave for me. Then I'll flip the crackers a couple times in the almond bark, making sure that it is completely coated. Then I'll transfer them to the wax paper using a fork, allowing them to dry and harden. I have to tell you, this is one of my favorites this Christmas that I had never tried, and I'll be making these in years to come. Next up is the same process, but this time we're coating an Oreo cookie. To make the cookies more festive, you could definitely add in some sprinkles immediately after placing them on the wax paper and before they harden. You may see down in the left lower hand corner, our fur baby Nyla is supervising once again, and she's being such a good girl, we just have to give her a treat after we're done getting all of these dipped.
Can you spin? Sit. Oh, good girl. Good girl.
I really appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with me. Remember, all the recipes will be linked or listed in the description box. I hope you enjoyed our time in the kitchen, and if you did, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Let me know if you plan to try any of the recipes, and let me know what you think. I love to go all out for Christmas, decorating every nook and cranny, and the bathrooms are no exception. This is our itty bitty powder room and the only bathroom on our main floor. It, along with our upstairs guest bathroom, are two of the 4 bathrooms that I'll share with you in today's tour. Today we are tackling the Christmas decorating here in our small entryway. And although it is small, I love to add lots of decor to make it feel nice and cozy, warm, and inviting as our friends and family come and go this holiday season. I want to start with a wall decor piece that I'm going to DIY to make it feel a little bit more vintage and antique. So let's go ahead, get that started so it can dry, and then we can decorate with it later on in today's video. You may remember this canvas print from last year, which I love, but I just wanted a more antique vintage look. First, I'm taking a dollop of this folk art acrylic paint in the color coffee bean. Next, I'll mix in water, making it super thin so that it goes on almost transparent. Then I'll apply this color wash with a sponge brush over the entire piece. Now, one of the main reasons I'm doing this is to tone down the stark white appearance of the snow and minimize the blue undertone. If you're wanting a darker, moodier look, you can apply more coats or lessen the amount of water. And on the other hand, for a minimal look, once you apply the color wash, you can quickly wipe over it with a damp paper towel. Quickly, here is a color comparison. The bottom portion has the color wash, and the top, you can see, is still very blue and stark. Although it's still wet, I'm really pleased with how it's turning out. While we let that dry, I want to begin today's decorating by adding garland to our staircase. It's usually a more tedious, messy process with some of the needles falling out, so once it's out of the way, I can clean it up and avoid tracking it throughout the rest of the house. I like to fluff the branches of the garland on the ground. I just find it much easier to do this way, and it eliminates the arm pain from having them over my head for so long. The garland I'll be using for the staircase is from Walmart. I actually used it last year around our front door, and I really love the realistic look of it. It's the 9-foot holiday time Sonoma cypress garland. It has a mixture of 3 pine branches, this 3-pronged one with a mini pine cone, a real feel cypress branch, and a typical pine branch, great for adding fullness. coordinate and complement all the other red bows that I've already decorated with in both the kitchen and living room, I'm going to add a couple more red velvet bows with long trailing tails at the bottom and top of the staircase. And if you don't already know, bows are super trendy this year, but I believe that adding a velvet bow gives an elegant, classic, timeless look, which is exactly what I'm going for this Christmas. In addition to the bows, I thought these beautiful picks from Hobby Lobby would be the perfect embellishment. They have just the right amount of gold glitter and frosted berries. To attach them, all I'm doing is bending the end of the stem into a hook, slipping that around a pine branch, and then further securing it in place with surrounding branches. As we end our time together today, I always love to share a daily Bible verse. And today I'll be sharing one of my favorites, which comes from Romans chapter 15, verse 13. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Well, I thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you did enjoy today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate a big thumbs up, maybe even a share over on your socials. That really does help me out. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care and God bless, friends. Bye and Merry Christmas.